Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's a regular council meeting of April 22nd, 2025. My name is Peter Emo. I'm the Reeve. I'm sitting in for the mayor, who is sick this evening. And with that, I'll ask the clerk, could you conduct roll call, please?
Mayor Sidney. Reeve Emo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhorter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sobalski.
Present.
Councillor Dick.
Present.
Reeve Emo, we do have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we're meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please stand for O Canada. Thank you, everyone. Is there any declaration of interest? Okay, seeing none. Presentations and delegations, and we have with us tonight from the Renfrew Public Library, Board Chair Tracy Stevens. So, Ms. Stevens, could you join us and make sure your mic is green, please? Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening.
Thank you very much for having us, Peter and Council. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I'm here with Maggie Murdoch, who is our Chief Librarian. Hope that this is informative and concise and that we can answer any questions you might have. So I trust that you all have the package? Yes? Okay, great. So it's also on the screen. All right, so this is just the agenda, and we will go through it quickly. I just wanted to note that the first item does have an acronym. We may refer to it as VOLT, and that's Valuing the Ontario Libraries Toolkit and Renfrew Public Library, and those details will actually be shared by Maggie. So that's going to start right now. So Maggie's going to share the information on this slide and the next.
Great, thank you. So the VOLT spreadsheet is something used by libraries to calculate what is hard to calculate. It's our social return on investment. So we are cultural and social hubs for communities. We foster personal, entrepreneurial, and social growth through access to information and community engagement. The library used this toolkit to measure our social return on investment, SROI, in areas like education, culture, inclusion, well-being, entertainment, economic development, civic engagement, and space. So we've highlighted the results in this presentation. So the result for education, we play a critical role in providing access to literacy and educational opportunities at the library. So the benefit of our education services was valued at $327,000 to $240,000. And then for culture, We play a significant role in enriching the cultural life of our community and helping people feel connected to their local heritage and identity. And the benefit was calculated at $78,821. For inclusion and well-being, libraries ensure that everyone have fair access to resources and services. We help improve the overall well-being of the community, and it was calculated at $105,629. For entertainment and leisure, we have a lot of readers in our community. So we offer programs and services that broaden people's knowledge and experiences. We help connect people, and we foster a sense of community at the library. And that service was valued at $2,380,380. For economic development, we help advance local economic growth through employment programs and resources. There are a lot of resources at the library. And it was valued at $654,510. For civic engagement, we strengthen community bonds and nurture connections and foster relationships. And this was valued at over $30,000. And then for our space, we provide space for community activities and connections. And this was valued at $197,953. So it is a large spreadsheet, and that's not in this report. We didn't think everyone would want to look at those numbers, but we can definitely provide them. So what does valuing Ontario libraries, what does it mean? So our overall economic benefit to the community was valued at $3,776,131. Per resident of Renfrew, that totals $452.94. Per household, $941.68. And the economic benefit for every hour that were open to the public was valued out at $535.47. So every dollar that's invested in our public library generates about $6.80 or a 680% social return on investment. And this was a kit, it was designed by Souls, and also there's an economic company that worked with them to do this.
Okay, the library, and thank you, Maggie. The library and the community at a glance. So last year, 2024, you'll see that we've subdivided this into 4 categories. So members, community use, services, and circulation, and you'll note those numbers there. So what we'd like you to know is that these numbers highlight increasing community engagement, and they reflect the library's essential role as a community resource. They demonstrate high usage and community dependence on library services. They emphasize the significance of a digital presence and online resources. The circulation numbers show a diverse collection that caters to a variety of interests and needs. Popular programs and the outreach initiatives show a wide array of offerings for all age groups. Volunteers, we have 609 volunteer hours noted from last year, and that indicates strong community support and involvement as well. Are there any questions about any of those items in any of those categories? No? Okay, thank you. Our revenue forecast. So the expected revenue for 2025 is just over $68,000. You will shortly see a line-by-line breakdown item of each item for that. But what we do want you to know is that the provincial grants are over $16,000. There are multiple grants, and they are over $30,000. Fees and charges are over $20,000, and that includes donations. So again, you will get to see what the specifics of those are. We would like you to note that Connection Center is no longer occupied, so that contract term has expired, so there won't be any revenue coming from that location. However, we would like you to know that staff are renovating that room as best we can, or as best they can with the things on hand, to see if we can introduce it as a space for rental, for future rentals. Okay, the next slide will actually show you the revenue item by item. So the $68,000 is indicated there as well. And again, the difference between the 2024 actual and the updated proposed budget number, again, has a lot to do with the Connection Center. All right. Expenditures. First, before I even start, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little bit of a note. Could you please just disregard that? And it will be changed and updated and corrected for your records coming. Right, Carolyn? Correct? Okay. So what we want you to know is, first of all, salaries, wages, and benefits are a big part of our expenses. So if you put them all together, we have over 84% of our total expenditures actually at $617,000. Then we've given you, broke it down for you so you don't have to look at every little bit on every line. So we've broken it down into 4 categories. So materials, building, the building itself, and then other. So under materials, it's $47,000 plus. The building itself is just over $30,000 plus, and then other things like licenses and supplies and equipment and memberships and PD, that's $43,000. So those 3 subcategories actually come to $121,550. So the salaries, wages, and benefits plus the $121,550 would give you the overall projected amount of $738,900. However, if you take into consideration the $68,000 in revenue, it does bring down our request to the municipality for the $670,760. The bottom left-hand corner should read that the library budget actually represents 5.27% of the overall levy. And Charlene Jackson, the treasurer, could speak to that if there was any further queries about that. None? Okay. So the next page is actually the line by line of the budget expenditures as they're projected for 2025. It does also show the 2024 actual and previous. And then there is a second page as well. All right. So the one thing that was actually not on our list of things that we would bring tonight, except we wanted to give you an opportunity to ask questions, because this is something that's on our mind that we think we would like you to consider and that we are going to have to pay attention to in the library building itself, and that is a lighting retrofit. So the library is right now spending a lot of money replacing ballasts and bulbs, and it's on a regular basis, and we're trying to save money, but the problem is they're outdated, they're no longer made, and it's very, very costly to replace them. So every time something happens to one of them, we have to call an electrician to do the work. So what the library staff are doing is waiting the best they can till more than one has presented a problem, so that multiples could be replaced all at once. So again, they're just trying to be fiscally wise with their money. But the new ones that could go in are wonderful. So they're modern, they last longer, they're healthier for the environment, they're healthier for people. They provide a different type of brightness, and there isn't any hazardous material in them. So again, they are much safer. So we do understand that you're not looking at capital, but we did want to give you an opportunity to ask questions if there was any in this regard as well. None noted? None? Okay.
Great. Thank you very much. And are there any questions?
And thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's it. We tried to be concise and efficient.
Thank you. And
So thank
Councillor
you.
McDonald, please.
Thank you, through your chair, and thank you very much for coming in tonight. I do have a question under page 7, under revenues. With regard to the actuals for 2023, you had 36,000, and I'm just wondering what happened. That's where I'm going with this. And obviously, it was cut in half as we go to 2024 actual and into the first draft. Is there an explanation for that? That was from the provincial grants. They basically cut it in half after 2023. And the second part to it, with regard to the federal grants, right underneath that, we had actuals last year of 0 under 2024, and it's been populated for 2025. at 16,000. So I'm just curious as to what happened with that, and then I'll have a follow-up question. Reeve, thank you.
Okay, and should we turn that to Kelly? Or are you good with that?
I can answer this year's for the federal. So for this year, we've received a federal grant for a seniors program that we'll be announcing soon, as well as for our summer student. I'm not sure why the 2024 actual revenue for the federal grant is at zero, because we did receive funding through the federal government for our summer student. So that line should read the amount that we received. So it shouldn't read zero, it should read that amount for the summer student.
I think there was also a question about the previous provincial grants that went from 36,000 down to 16.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kelly, could you answer that one?
Thanks to you, Reeve. I can't recall. I know we got another grant. It was a different grant program. We've been getting the same. We get that 16,720 since early 90s. The province has never changed what they give us. So I would have to go back, but I know that year we did receive a second provincial grant through a program.
And supplementary.
Thank you. Through you again, Reeve. And I'm just wondering, as we go into this, obviously with the, in terms of the revenues and expenditures, how much liquidity do you have in your bank account, or do you have any reserves set aside for the library? We're about to enter into budgets, and I'm just curious with regard to that, so thank you.
Absolutely. And I just wanted also noted that we did revisit this at the request of council, that we wanted to make sure that we were trimming and being respectful of everybody's need to do just that. So, Kelly, did you want to talk to that?
Yeah, through you, Reeve. So libraries have to zero out at the end of the year. So basically, we have an account because we're mandated to by the province, because the town can't technically get our provincial funding check. So for that reason, we have an account, and what we do is whenever we get money, we transfer it over to the town. So like right now, there could be, trying to think when my last transfer was, but basically we don't keep anything in our account. It all gets moved to the town account. And so we don't have, we have some, I shouldn't say that, we did get a bequest. We just got it in the last part of this year for, I believe, 10,000. So we're waiting to, we put that into a deferred revenue account with the town. But we're waiting to see where that'll be best spent.
Thank you. And Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, because I'm just going to ask the question and we can go from there. So we were just told by Director Latondres that the money is transferred out of the library and it heads into the town account. Again, I'll just follow up Councillor McDonald's question, is how much is there? And does that money stay in that reserve just for the library? Or where does that, how does that money, where does that money go, I guess the question should be.
Thank you. Treasurer or Director?
So, thank you, Reeve. So it's transferred over into the general town fund, and what we do is we GL each account. So if the money is to go towards supplies or towards into our, for example, when our provincial grant comes in, it comes over and we give it the GL that's indicated on the whatever it is right now, like our GL line. So we don't keep money in our account. It keeps there till I go, oh, okay, we have money in there, I've got to get it over here, and then I transfer it over. But the only thing that might be kept until the end of the year is sometimes, for example, if a grant sits in there for a few weeks before I move it, we might make some interest. That interest also moves over to the town's general account and goes into, there's a line that it goes into. So everything is recorded under the town's general account.
Supplementary?
Thank you, Chair, and through you. And just to help the public out, what does GL account mean?
Apologies, yeah, sorry, through you, the general ledger, so wherever it's supposed to, whatever line it should go into in the budget.
Supplementary 2.
Thank you. Again, could we get how much is in that account?
Okay, so I think, I want to make sure I'm clear and I'm understanding. So I think the original question was, are there any accounts that aren't a day-to-day account? Is there any kind of bequests account or reserves? I think that's where we're trying to get to is are there any reserves dedicated solely to the library that we might be unaware of? I think that's the question we're trying to get to. So
Yes.
possibly the director or the treasurer, please.
Through you, Reeve, there is no specific reserve that I'm aware of from the town's end for the library specifically. And the director is indicating that there's no reserve at the library account either. As well, the bank, when we say that it goes into the general bank account, it goes into the general bank account, which is all the town's funds. There's not a separate bank account that's set aside for the library. Because we run the books through our town account. So whenever we're paying the bills, they pay us, it goes back and forth sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do I address you as chair tonight?
Sure. Perfect.
Okay. Through you, Chair. Just to confirm, I do have a question. So when you say community use, you say you have 43,958 visits. Does that mean 43,958 people entered the door of your library in 2024?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, we are able to count.
Perfect. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, I really like your VOL, Volt model, and I was online looking at it last night just to get a sense of it. So I think, that's something we might consider using across all of our public-facing enterprises. So thank you very much for that. And with regards to the capital ask, my understanding is it's $17,000 to replace those lights, and I guess we would, as we consider it, ask Supervisor Eckford to kind of give us a savings that would be accrued, if possible, for that, so that it could pay out that $17,000. So I don't think that's an unrealistic ask, and seeing as how you've been so good about generating numbers for everything but that, I think that's on our end to take a look at. And is that Supervisor Eckford? Is that possible? I'm sorry? Oh, Jacob, I'm sorry. Jacob Collins.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Chair. That's definitely something we could look into. Just have to discuss with the electrician and then come up with some numbers for you and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. And my second part of that question to the treasurer, is that a way for us to finance it where we recognize what the savings are going forward and just borrow from ourselves?
I would think so, but I'd have to look into it. I wasn't prepared for any questions with regards to the library, so I've been busy doing the whole budget.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. A very informative and interesting presentation tonight, and it certainly highlights the importance of the library to our community. It's no longer, not that it ever was, but I think the perception might have been at one point that it was a large building with dusty books and a very quiet place, somewhat dark in areas now, I understand, but it's a very thriving and dynamic portion of our community, so thank you for making it that way.
Thank you again for having us.
Thank you.
So we're at announcements and community events. If there's any announcements from members of council, and Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. And once again, I mentioned this last meeting, and I want to mention it again. This Saturday, between the hours of 12 and 2, my father will be recognized for 50 years of coaching in the town of Renfrew, along with his 80th birthday this Saturday at the Renfrew bowling alley, Opiongo Bowldroom. I would love it if the mayor and the Reeve have already committed to coming, and if councillors are available, it would be my honor to host you, staff included. My dad's a pretty awesome guy, so thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation. And Councillor McWhirter, please.
Through you, Chair, thank you. Every year they do this. Tim Hortons is doing the Renfrew area senior home support and the Golden Age Activity Center have been selected as the official recipients of the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie campaign. It's running from April 28th to May 4th at both locations in Renfrew. So get out and get your Smile cookies and help support seniors. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any further announcements? This is a somewhat different announcement, but recently Mayor Mark Wilmer of Madawaska Valley passed away, and as you know, our municipal community is quite small. Those of us that serve often run into each other or sit on various committees or learning opportunities. And I first met Mark in the 90s when he was with the town of Arnprior as a councillor. Very thoughtful man, quiet, quite smart, and he had just a delightful sense of humor. And I wish to extend on behalf of the town our respect and our sympathies to his family, Janet, and his children, as well as to his council and the staff of Madawaska Valley. We'll move to item D, which is Committee of Adjustment, and I see none. And to Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council convenes a Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor Sobalski. Discussion? All those in favor? None, opposed? It's none, so it's approved. Thank you, Council. And with that, we'll move to item E.1, and Manager Springer, please. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a motion. The Committee of the Whole received the 2024 Hydraulic Reserve Capacity Report as information. Mover, please. Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. And Manager Springer.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. The hydraulic capacity reserve calculation is a standardized way to generally estimate the remaining capacity of our drinking water and wastewater systems. In very simple terms, the calculation takes into account the operating capacity of the plants and subtracts the current usage as well as the estimated usage of certain types of future development. The sewer reserve capacity has been calculated at 2,308 cubic meters per day, or approximately 1,497 residential units, and the water reserve capacity has been calculated at 9,278 cubic meters per day, or approximately 4,909 residential units. This calculation does not adequately take into consideration other factors such as the condition of the distribution and collection systems, user density, or high commercial and industrial demand. Other documents prepared by licensed engineers, such as the Master Servicing Plan, is better suited to estimate the remaining capacity in the water and wastewater systems. However, this calculation provides an estimate of the remaining capacity that is comparable year over year and from community to community. The calculations indicate that there is considerable capacity in the water and wastewater systems to accommodate growth. That's all I have, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. And Council, you heard the report. Is there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to ask for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council, and thank you, Manager Springer. Very concise and well understood. That Committee of the Whole received the Landfill Slope Remediation Project Update Report as information. A mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Andrew Dick. And Manager Springer, please.
I didn't put my hand up. I didn't second that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Councillor Legree. My apologies. I looked down really fast. I thought I saw you move.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So in November of 2023, staff presented council a report regarding the state of the landfill's steep waste slopes and a preliminary cost estimate prepared by our consulting engineers, WSP. The report being provided today is for informational purposes to give council an update on the project since this time. And although the report does provide some budget numbers, those numbers have been included in the 2025 capital budget for further discussion. Currently, the design work is ongoing. It has been unacceptably slow. However, changing our consultant at this point would only result in further delays and costs. The consultant is on track to have the design work finished within the next month. The next step will be to submit an ECA amendment application. Based on recent conversations with the MACP, it is unlikely that our application will receive a priority review, meaning that it could take up to a year for approval. In 2024, the town itself made some progress on the project by constructing an access road to the toe of the steep waste slopes and stockpiling excess soil from road construction projects to be used as a base and cover for the regrading of the steep slopes. Through this work and by other means, the steep slopes have been seen by several heavy equipment operators, excavation contractors, engineers, technicians, and waste operators from other municipalities and other engineering consultants. While on site, we have taken the opportunity to consult with these individuals, and in every case, these folks have thought that WSP's approach was overly complex. As a result, the town has altered its approach, which includes not having our consultants, WSP, prepare a work plan for the waste regrading. Rather, WSP will prepare the new landfill limits, which the steep waste slopes will need to be regraded within, but they will not be preparing how to go about regrading the slopes. Instead, we are proposing to address the work through a request for proposal process rather than a tender. Through an RFP, contractors could partner with an engineering consultant of their choice to prepare and implement a work plan, including all due diligence studies. The MECP and the town's lawyer have been consulted on this approach, and they do not have any unmanageable concerns. We would not be able to release an RFP until at least the ECA application is submitted, but work would not be able to be started until the ECA is fully approved, which is likely to be early 2026. Based on this information, staff have revised the budget estimates. The remaining work is split across two capital projects, $48,000 for the remaining work to be done on the landfill revised contours, which we also call the design work, and $791,082 for the landfill slope regrading work. However, it is important to note that the regrading work is not a standard type of work, making the cost estimate subject to greater variability. The $791,000 estimate has been made based on known rental rates for earthwork jobs, with an additional 18% added for consultants and a 15% contingency. This brings the total 2025 budget to $839,082, of which all but $136,954 is rollover from 2024. This budget has been estimated to include all steps required to resolve the non-compliance issue with the steep slopes at the landfill, which is significantly less than the $1.5 to $2 million that was originally estimated. This project currently is proposed to be partially funded from reserves, which is something we will have to look into further to ensure adequate funds will be available in the future, particularly for landfill closure. Thank you. I can take any questions you have.
Thank you. And Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Chair, and I'll have two of them directed towards the manager. With regard to Phase 2, second paragraph, we talk about work ongoing for design, minimal progress, and it sounds like unacceptable. Are they the people that you're talking about that will be completed? They've stated they'll be completed now within a month, the results, and that's for approximately $48,000. Am I correct on that one?
Through you, Reeve? Yes, that is correct.
With regard to the 15 to 45 years of lifespan within the landfill, that's a 30-year separation. Can you just explain what criteria gets us to those figures, please?
Thank you, through you, Chair. So currently, the landfill has about 20 years left in the estimated capacity. When I wrote this report, I didn't have the most recent monitoring report, but I have received that now, and that'll be coming next council with some good news that we have 20 years left in Phase 4. We have a conditional approval of Phase 5, which could get us another 30 years, so that is why there's such a difference in those numbers, is whether or not Phase 5 goes ahead or not.
Thank you. And Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So let's just go back to the numbers because we just need to dumb it down for me, obviously. So we're saying the total cost for 2025 is $840,000, and in 2024, we put, so from my understanding, we put away $797,000. Is that correct?
Manager Springer?
Through you, Chair. I do believe we did budget in 2024 for somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000, and so that will be a rollover. We did use part of that budget because there was some progress that was made on the design work, as well as that road that was built.
Okay, follow up, Chair, if you don't mind. Okay, so we put 700,000, we'll go the lower number for you. We put 700,000 away in 2024. Now we're estimating the cost is 840, so we have $136,000 in new expenses, but we're saying the landfill reserve is currently 495. So like, you need to explain this to me and to everybody else that's not understanding it. Do we actually have $700,000 sitting somewhere, or do we only have $500,000 sitting somewhere? Because here's the thing, these numbers come to us all the time, and then after the meeting we're told by staff, well, the money's actually not there. So I really want to understand this so I have a full understanding of where the money is, Chair.
And Manager Springer?
Yeah, through you, Chair, I can try to answer this question maybe with some assistance from the treasurer. So that's not what we put away, but that is what we budgeted, and I think that was primarily budgeted out of multiple reserves, not just the landfill reserve, but I think also the rolling stock reserve possibly for the excavator, which we didn't proceed with. So that is sort of where the money, how it was split up last year. So it wasn't necessarily we set it aside, that's what we budgeted.
Supplementary. And Treasurer?
We'll let the treasurer go because she might answer my question, Chair. Thank you.
Yes, I'll just bring up the capital from 2024, final capital budget, to see where the funding was coming from. So the equipment, the landfill excavator was budgeted at $420,000, and it was budgeted to come out of the landfill reserve. The landfill trying to find it here. Landfill remediation was $377,000, and it says it was to come out of the landfill reserve. However, that was not totally used. If I look at the yearly reserves that are unbudgeted, there was also a surplus that we were anticipating from the landfill at the end of 2023 that never did get put into reserves. So it was budgeted for, but the overall surplus, if you remember, I think at the end of 2023 we actually had a small deficit at the end of 2023. But I mean, to answer this type of question at this moment, I would have to dig deeper to exactly find out what the anticipated, to find out to give you a proper answer, which I can do, but I can't do it off the top of my head.
Thank you. And supplementary?
Through you, Chair. So I'm going to ask this question, and I hope it's answered in somewhat of a simple manner for me. So in 2024, a budget is presented to council, and we're going to use this as an example. And on a line item, it says, we are budgeting $797,000 for 2024 to fix the landfill. Council says, we agree, we agree to this, we vote yes in favor of the $797,000. So should that, since we approved that $797,000, shouldn't that money be taken and used for this? And now I'm being told that we approved this last year, but now this money's no longer there. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because I'm being told there's no money here for it, but last year we approved it. So this is where I'm confused. Where's the $797,000 that we approved last year?
Okay, so in general, what you're asking is that if a project isn't completed in the year that it's budgeted for, what happens to its funds? Is it similar to what happens with our road construction projects? And the CAO, please.
Through you, Reeve, to all of council, to simplify the concept, if in 2024 it was budgeted to be pulled from reserves, there was no additional money brought in, so the amounts would still be in the reserves. Now it appears in the report that the reserves are only at $500,000, and that could be that we didn't have the full $790,000 at that time during budget for 2024. Now I know Director Jackson was not here for all of the budget last year, so unfortunately things sometimes happen when there's a changeover mid-budget process. So because it was in the reserves to fund that 797, it's not like if you didn't spend it at the end of the year, there's an extra amount that you go and put somewhere, because it was already put somewhere, but the amount that's put somewhere is that $495,000 in this report as per the unaudited numbers at the end of 2024. So really the difference that we would be looking at needing to fund would be the difference basically of that $500,000 and the total of the project, keeping in mind that a lot of the costs of these projects are likely going to go into 2026, and so you could consider leaving that portion as an unfinanced for now and deal with it in 2026. Does that simplify the concept?
It does.
Okay.
Councillor Andrew Dick, you are complete.
I just have a totally different question.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll move to Councillor Zabalski.
Thank you. This is just a real quick question, and I've asked this before, and I'm pretty sure other councillors did, but just to let the public know, this is, Chair, this is something we have to do because an auditor from the Ontario government came in, saw the problem, and we have to fix this. Correct, Chair?
No, actually, our staff noted it, and we're obligated to report it to the ministry, which we did, and then the ministry conducted a visit and gave a recommendation, which is actually loosely in order to comply.
Okay, thank you.
Is that a fair description, Manager?
Through you, Chair, that is more correct. Yes, we have currently a non-compliance. We have not received an order to comply yet. If that happens, that's not a good thing. We don't want that. The MSCP has been very flexible with us so far.
Thank you. And Councillor Zabalski, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. The engineering portion that's been talked to, the WSP's approach is complex and so on, so we're getting a design from them. And then it moves down a little bit further to say the RFP process. That particular contractor would be able to partner with an engineering consultant of their choice. So with the design from WSP, will the contractor still require more engineering to how the design is applied? It's just engineers. kind of don't want to spend any more money on engineering.
Thank you. Manager Springer, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. It is suspected that whenever we go out to RFP, there'll be more design work that is part of that, more engineering work, not really design work. Maybe like a slope stability study or something along those lines. That has been included in the budget at an additional 18% of what we think the contracted rates are, like for the earth moving. In terms of like WSP's portion, the design work, we're using that as like a regular term that you guys are familiar with, but it's not really the appropriate term for this. There isn't really an appropriate term, but there's kind of two steps. There's the one, get the MECP approval of what our limits are going to look like, and then the second part is how to actually work within those limits. WSP is going to do the first part, and then through the RFP, somebody else will figure out how to do the second part.
Thank you. And Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair, to the manager. Is there a concrete end timeline with regard to this whole process that we're looking at?
Through you, Chair. It'll be highly dependent on the MECP's timeline for approving our ECA. But I have a personal goal of having it done at the end of 2026.
Okay, thank you. And I guess to add comment to Councillor Sobolski's question, it's been my experience that when a contractor comes in on a complex job like this, they want to have their own engineer look at it so they can use it as part of their warranty should something go wrong. And then as the owner, we like that too, because there's lots more insurance companies to draw funds from should something go wrong. Thank you. So you've heard the report and the dialogue and conversation around this. Is there anything else, Council? Seeing none, I'll ask all those in favor. Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And we'll move to E13. That Committee of the Whole recommends that the Renfrew Town Council approve the additional budget for the Filter 1 rehabilitation project and direct staff to approve Aqua's expenditure request for that project with the additional cost to be funded from reserves. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Legree. In discussion, and we'll lead off with Manager Springer's report.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. The Filter 1 rehabilitation project was approved as part of Aqua's capital budget at a value of $145,000. However, pricing has come in at $185,308, an increase of about $40,000. Given this amount exceeds the approved budget, there are a few ways the council can address this. The first is to increase the capital budget utilizing reserves to fund the project. This is what is being recommended. The second is to delay other work that is less critical. However, doing so will only negatively impact next year's budget. And lastly, council could choose not to proceed with the project. However, this is not recommended due to the critical nature of the filters in providing safe drinking water. Staff are asking for a final decision today in order to proceed with the scheduling of the work based on the contractor's availability. Thanks. I can take any questions.
Thank you. Questions from council? Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Reeve. Not a question, just a statement. To me, water's non-negotiable, and I'm fine with the recommendation that it comes out of reserves. That's just my opinion.
Thank you. And Councillor Legree.
Through you, Chair, I agree with Councillor McDonald. We both went to Petawawa and took the water course, and it's very serious and something we don't want to play around with, so I'll be in favor of option 1.
Thank you. I think all of us that took the course were sufficiently scared and recognize, the obligation we have first as financially and risk management, but also just generally what happens if you don't have good water. Seeing there are no further questions, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. Next is item E1.4. That the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the additional budget for the WWTP Walkway Membrane Project and direct staff to approve Aqua's expenditure request for the project with $90,000 of additional funding to be taken from the biosolids cross-auger budget. Mover, please. Councillor Andrew Dick, second by Councillor McDonald. And Manager Springer, please.
Thank you through you, Rave. This is a similar request to the last one, although a few differences. The wastewater treatment plant walkway resurfacing project was part of the 2024 approved capital budget, and it was rolled over into the 2025 Aqua capital budget at a value of $125,000. Recently, Aqua undertook a request for bids process, with bids being evaluated on financial and technical aspects. The updated costs are now at $222,095, an increase of about $98,000. Again, Council has a few options to address this. The recommended approach is to reallocate $90,000 from the biosolids auger project, a project which is unlikely to proceed in 2025, and access an additional $7,975,000 from reserves. Second option, similar to the first, except the additional $7,975 would be funded by delaying other low priority work. And lastly, Council could choose not to proceed with the project. However, this is not recommended, as the current walkway presents a tripping hazard, results in issues with snow removal, and has shown evidence of water infiltration visible from the tunnel underneath the walkway, which, if left unresolved, will eventually lead to structural issues. Thank you. I can take any questions.
Thank you. Members of Council, questions? Okay. Councillor Cybulski.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Just understanding it's a top membrane that's being put on. It appears in the picture one side has earth beside it. Are we for sure that the water infiltration's from the top and not from the side? Because it looks like one side it's nothing, and on the other side you can see there's snow. So just want to make sure that we put this top on it that actually does fix water infiltration.
Manager Springer, please.
Through you, Chair, I do believe there's a strong suggestion that it is from the top, because when you look up from the tunnel, the watermarks are like in a straight line, similar to the cracks.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And we'll move to item E.1.5. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council authorize the hiring of a temporary landfill operator 1 to cover an approved leave of absence. And a mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Legree, and Manager Springer, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. This justification report is being provided to proceed with the recruitment of a temporary landfill operator 1 position to cover an approved leave of absence as defined by the QP collective agreement. Given the small staff team at the landfill, the long-term leave of absence of a core employee cannot be managed with existing resources without a significant reduction in level of service. Thus, staff are recommending the recruitment of this position.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So just to confirm, presently we have 2 employees at the landfill, and 1 has been granted a leave of absence?
And is that Manager Springer?
Sure, through you, Chair. Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Dick, supplementary, or are you good to go? Sure. I'll move to Councillor McDonald, then back to you.
Thank you, Chair, through you. And I just want to note, we've been previously informed that we'd be utilizing interdepartmental arrangements for such situations. Is that an option, or if I can get an update with regard to that situation?
And Manager Springer, please.
Through you, Chair. Currently, we are utilizing people from other departments to cover while we go through this recruitment process. It is going to be challenging. I currently have no one for this Saturday, so we might have to close the landfill. Still working on that. We are utilizing overtime hours. That does come up on occasion. Staff are understanding of the situation and are willing to help, but that won't continue forever.
Thank you. And Councillor Dick, and then Councillor Andrew Dick, and then Councillor Legree.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Okay, so I just had to take a minute to gather my thoughts here. So in the collective agreement with the union, Mr. Chair, sorry, we we are allowed to offer leaves of absences? Let's just start there. So that's a yes or no.
Well, in short, it's not even part of the process with the union. It's ours to grant, and then the collective agreement describes how we could fill those.
Okay. So we have agreed.
Our
that
management
giving-
team has agreed, yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Thank you. And how long will this leave of absence be?
Manager Springer?
This leave of absence is for medical reasons. It is unknown how long the leave of absence will be. We have been advised to plan for 6 months at a minimum.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And I saw Councillor Legree. You're okay? Any further discussion? Thank you for the explanation. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you very much. We move to item E2 and E2.1. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council execute a letter of agreement with the Ministry of Transportation to receive the 2025 dedicated gas tax funding of $245,313 in support of public transportation. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and Director Jackson, please.
Thank you, Reeve, email through you. So back in October of 2004, the province of Ontario provided a 1 cent per litre of gas tax funds to Ontario municipalities, increasing as of October 2005 to 1.5 cents per litre, and then since October 2006, the province has consistently provided 2 cents per litre of provincial gas tax funding to improve and expand transit. Following the passing of the Dedicated Funding for Public Transportation Act 2013, a portion of the tax that is paid to Ontario under the Gasoline Tax Act in each fiscal year is dedicated to the provision of grants, including those pursuant to this program, to municipalities for public transportation. As you know, the town of Renfrew does not have public transportation, but they do provide transportation through the Sunshine Coach, and the Sunshine Coach provides some accessibility transportation for the town, which does fall within the transit gas tax. So every year, the town has to sign this letter of agreement to receive that funding. It's $245,313 for 2025. There is, in the letter of agreement, and the reason it just came in, and typically they want it signed right away and returned, and that's why I'm asking also to have a bylaw passed to enter into that letter of agreement. So at a bylaw will come forward later, as they would like this letter back by the end of April, I believe it is in the letter. No later than April 30th, 2025, and that's the reason why it's coming. The date was March 31st, which was too late to hit when it was sent out, too late to hit the first meeting, and therefore it is on the second meeting of committee and then at council. This is something that is done every year in order to receive that funding.
Key questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Council.
And we'll move to E.3.1, which is the parking bylaw review. The Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the proposed amendments to the consolidated parking bylaw and that a new bylaw be brought forward to Council for adoption. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Andrew Dick, and discussion will lead off with Director Guest, please.
Thank you, and through email to all of Council. So as Council knows, the Town of Renfrew's parking bylaw provides enforcement of non-moving traffic offenses to keep residents, drivers, and business owners safe. Bylaw staff conduct regular parking patrols, therefore revisions are necessary to improve the operations. On December 10th of last year, Renfrew Town Council made the motion that the consolidated parking bylaw be tabled with the formation of a working group. As such, the working group met on March 6th and March 27th to review the existing parking bylaw in its entirety. As per Council's request, a review of all accessible parking spaces within the downtown core was also conducted. A proposed draft parking bylaw is attached as Appendix A. Just some highlights on some of the proposed changes. Winter parking restrictions. Basically, we changed from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., and the new change reflects 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. And this is just to provide further flexibility for public works crews. Designated no parking areas. So under paragraph 4, we've added the ability for council to approve special requests. Under restricted parking, adjust parking restrictions to be consistent across the town with 3-hour time limit, 7 days a week for all on-street parking. We're also proposing the addition of several 3-hour time limits spaces in municipal parking lots. So currently there are no time limits in the municipal parking lots. So by having both all-day parking as well as time-restricted parking in the same lots, this will allow for flexibility for business owners and staff as well as patrons. Council has also directed staff to review all current accessible parking spaces within the downtown core. During the review process, it was noted that some additional benefits could be proposed to all of council. We also have a map of the current and proposed spaces attached as Appendix B for your review. We are recommending the removal of 6 loading zone spaces, and we'd like to convert those to accessible parking spaces. Should council have any questions concerning this, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair. And just through you, just a comment. I want to thank Councillor McWhirter, Councillor Legree, Chief Guest, and everybody else that worked on this. I feel that we got a really good solution for the downtown core and beyond, working together on this. And I'm very pleased with the outcome. I think everybody's going to be happy with this, and just a good job to everybody involved, and thank you.
Thank you. So when I see here, it says that existing and proposed spots would be 25. Does that exceed, it sounds like it exceeds the provincial standard, because I noticed it went from 11 to 14 just in the downtown core itself. Chief Guest, please.
Thank you, and through your review, Mo. So it does exceed. I think having the ability to add the accessible parking spaces and also to utilize some spaces that were already in the downtown core, being the loading zones which were typically not used for that fashion. They were used for just general parking. Some of the other accessible parking spaces were basically recommendations, and we looked at it per block and per section, and also highly traffic areas where we thought it was important to have an increase in accessible spaces. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further questions, comments? Okay, thank you. Excellent job, and it's nice to see the addition of accessible spaces, because some people aren't as mobile as they could be. So with that, are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And we'll move to E.4.1, repairs to the Public Works Garage. The Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council direct staff in each of the 3 categories of options presented in order to commence repairs on the Public Works Garage with recommended direction as follows. Number 1, The staff be directed to proceed with the work under the category of immediate repairs, including the following. A, full roof replacement at $170,000. Partial floor replacement, a 40 by 70 foot parcel, $60,000, including repair at the sinkhole location. C, beam repairs of $1,000. Mechanical and electrical system repairs, costs to be determined based on need. And 2, the staff be directed to proceed with the undertaking design of a new public works garage, including consideration of previous designs and location options. 3, that council establish a target occupancy for the existing facility of 5 to 10 years. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Discussion, and I'll ask for Director Bishop to lead us, please.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So a Public Works Garage report was brought to Council on February 25th, outlining the current state of the Public Works Garage. This report was further to CAO Raybone's report, concerns identified among town-owned facilities, which outlined that the Public Works Garage be prioritized due to safety measures. After exploring potential lease opportunities since then, direction out of the closed session on April 8th was that staff were to bring forward additional town garage options in a public report. So this building has been discussed as part of budget deliberations since 2005, as previously mentioned. In 2013, a building condition assessment was prepared, and another BCA was prepared in 2023. Building condition assessment report, Renfrew Municipal Garage, was presented to Council for information on October 20th, 2023, with budget recommendations at that time. I'll note that the replacement of the roof of the current building was included in the 2024 budget and was postponed due to budget restrictions. So staff is looking for recommendations on all 3 options here, which is a bit of a different layout than regular, but the first option is to proceed with any or all of the immediate repairs, including the roof, the floor, beam repairs, and mechanical and electrical systems, and to proceed with any or all of the potential future repairs, which include exterior refinishing, windows, ceiling and flooring repairs, and many additional items, which can be discussed if we go into potential future repairs. Number 2 is to direct staff to proceed with design of a new Public Works Garage at this time. And number 3 is to identify a planned time horizon for occupancy of the current garage, ranging from 5 years to 40 years, and direct staff to prepare a capital plan for the property based on that desired length of occupancy. So for number 1, if council directs staff to proceed with the immediate repairs, the roof and a portion or all of the floor can be repaired, as well as other health and safety concerns. This will improve the condition of the garage. We can also proceed with any of the potential future repairs at this time, and any other items that are chosen from that building condition assessment. At this time, it is recommended that a structural engineer confirm the structural integrity of the building prior to these repairs. And the selected repairs will be considered as part of the 2025 budget review. Currently, there is $451,000 in the capital budget draft for the garage, and we do have detailed quotes for a few items that would be immediate repairs, and we can get quotes on further items as well. So the impact of option 2, council can direct whether staff proceed with the design of a future garage at this time. It has been done in the past, but we could continue with that option depending on how long staff is going to be staying in the garage. And that brings us to number 3. Council should provide direction on the planned time horizon for the occupancy of the existing building. This will inform the extent of repairs to be undertaken now and in future years.
Thank you. Comments, questions, concerns, and I see Councillor Sobalski.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the report. I enjoyed reading it. We have a lot to talk about, I think, around the table, but I almost want to do it backwards, 3, 2, 1, because I do believe we need to figure out how long we want to keep this building for before we decide what we put into it. And depending on how long we choose to keep it for, it'll kind of give us a basis whether how soon we start working on a new garage or not. So I'm okay with keeping it there for 40 years, but what does anyone else think?
Okay, so I think I actually agree with you. We should be having a conversation about item number 3 first. And to that, I have a question. Right now, are we leaving any essential equipment outdoors during the winter months? Is that a problem for our machinery, and does it, does it take away from its lifespan? And then the second piece is, are we expecting at some point in the future to buy other equipment that'll add to our rolling stock?
Through you, Reeve. Currently, all of the equipment does not fit in the garage in the winter, but I guess not mentioned in the report, but an expansion could be discussed if the plan were to be to stay for another 40 years. I can't tell you exactly what the damage is to vehicles, but depending on weather, obviously, it can be better or worse. And then, sorry, can you repeat the second part of the question?
Essentially, are we expecting to purchase new equipment to add to the rolling stock, not just replacement?
Okay. At this time, that's hard to say, depending on staffing and depending on budget in the future.
Okay, thank you. Fair answer. And Councillor Legree, please. So we're just going to, as per Councillor Sobalski's suggestion, talk about item 3.
Yeah, through you, Chair. So yeah, I think it's a great location for the garage. It's been there forever. It's there's no reason in my mind to move it. And yeah, 40 years too, I think is, and we could add on to it. My only question is, I think in one of the reports before, it said that the building wasn't really for long term, but once we put this into it, I don't know enough about it. Maybe Councillor Sobalski can help me with that, if that's a problem to keep the building for long term or not. But
so just to be sure we have the same, we're all working on the same question, and that'll give Director Bishop a chance to organize her thoughts. So what we're doing is we're asking, is this a good investment to spend money on this building to extend its lifespan? Should we do that? Is there the opportunity to put good money into expanding it to last longer than 5 to 10 years?
Through you, Reeve. I think if we commit to staying there for another 40 years, we can actually have a capital plan moving forward that identifies what items need to be repaired and which are immediate. If we are going to commit to getting a new floor and a new roof, I think that we can extend the life of the building, and then obviously additional items, but those were all identified in the previous building condition assessments, and none of the work has really been done in quite a long time. So if we actually commit to doing that work in the future, we can definitely stay there for a longer period of time.
Thank you. And Councillor Sobalski?
Thank you, through you, Chair. So the comment of temporary could be looked at 2 ways. I look at it as a benefit. The building is designed to be on-bolted, stored, and rebolted back together. It is made of wonderfully thick steel, and to the advantage of the building, like it's talking about steel repair, if there's an area that does have a bad section, you can literally unbolt it and bolt in a new section. So if anything, the building has an advantage due to its design. The upper steel is never going to become an issue. If we get into salt corrosion at the lower end, at the foundation end, I think the chunk is about 6 feet tall. It's a 6-foot piece of steel that can be unbolted and bolted back in, worst case scenario. That's my take on the building. I don't deem it as a defect that it has the ability to come apart. I think if we want to expand, it actually has a benefit that we can duplicate it and make the building even bigger and keep it very similar. So.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald, and then Councillor Andrew Dick.
Are we still staying on option 3?
3, yes.
I'll wait till 2, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, through you, Chair. 100% agree. I love the fact of what Director Bishop just said. if staff knows they're going to stay there for 40 years, they can come up with a plan. And that's something we've seen that doesn't happen a lot. So that excites me, and hopefully her and her staff can sit down and say, okay, this year we have to fix this. Year 2, this, and then maybe in the 4th year we expand. And the bonus about this is, we can start the process, and then it says, in 20 years, the new council, they could change it if they want, right? But I think this is a great idea. Councillor Greer said it perfect. It's a perfect location. It's lots of room out there, lots of good outbuildings. It's a really good spot, and the building, yeah, let's fix it up. So I like 40 years, option 3. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, can we agree then that we'll set the target occupancy for at a minimum the 10-year window, and that gives staff the opportunity to ensure that they can build a plan. So with that, we'll make sure we note that in the minutes, and then we'll move to item number 1, because it sounds like item number 2 may be slightly different when we get to it. So item number 1, which is the overall question, you see the ABCD for item number 1. So can I have comments on that, please? Director Bishop, do you have anything to add? No? Okay, thanks. I saw you stirring. Okay, and Councillor Zabalski.
Thank you, Reeve, through you, Chair. So it's a big list. The roof is priority. That's priority number 1. I guess a decision maybe tonight would be the floor. Understandably, the 40 by 70 chunk is designed, I believe, for the main mechanical area. So the main mechanic has a proper floor to work on. And I understand looking at the full roof floor replacement with preferred long-term occupancy for drain replacement and so on, if we start considering an expansion, it would be nice to understand what that expansion is, and the rest of the floor get replaced maybe all at that time for drainage. So it's done in one shot. I think if we're talking 2 or 3 years, they might be able to do without all of the floor. We could just put the drainage in the one chunk, and then when we do the new floor and the expansion, if that's the way it goes, we can put all the proper drainage in. It's just an idea as compared to putting it all in there now and then trying to tie a new pad in with maybe potentially different drainage options. So it's just a thought. And then as we move down the list, well, the roof is priority. I believe there's some heating system priorities, and then the floor, but after that I'm open to options.
Okay, so as I understand it, we're all in agreement of A, B, C, and D. Cost is to be determined and based on need and brought back to us. So I think we're all in agreement with that. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I'm just concerned about the beam repairs being at $1,000. Could we just, I just feels it should be more than $1,000. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So the impression I have is it's the rusted member, which we heard is approximately 6 feet.
Okay.
And could be just pulled it and put in.
Okay.
Is that correct, Director?
Okay.
Yes, through you, Reeve, based on a preliminary assessment, it's just certain sections that are important to get replaced.
Thank you. And Councillor McWhorter?
You, Chair, for Director. I don't see the washrooms on here. I'm thinking the guys probably think that's a really important point. Is that going to be part of the initial repairs? I think it's something that probably has to be done since there was some issues with it.
And Director Bishop?
Through you, Reeve. So the main issue in the bathroom is leaking water. So if we can repair the roof, that hopefully will mitigate that. But other repairs moving forward, if we identify this as we're staying there for 40 years, there are definitely things that we need to identify in a capital plan to repair sooner than later, especially because there are females working out there now, having different facilities for them, and kind of just making a plan moving forward. We just want confirmation on which way we're going kind of at this point.
Thank you. Councillor Andrew Dick.
So just a comment towards staff, Chair, and through you. They're coming up, staff's coming up with a plan, and we're going to approve it this year, and this council seems to have bought in to this plan. Well, next year's our last year before the election, so I'm just letting staff know we're committed to your plan, so just remember that in the 2026 budget. We're committed to your plan. So ask for what you want in the second year, because you're probably going to get it for it, so, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2027, so, because I like this plan. This is a good plan and good job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so with that, we'll get to Councillor McDonald's item number 2, and I'm guessing he's going to suggest an amendment where we would remove that, but I'll ask him for his confirmation.
That's correct. Thank you, Reeve.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Cebulski, would you second that amendment? Okay, thank you. And then discussion on the amendment. We remove item number 2. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And then Councillor Cebulski, I think you had other comments?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Chair. There was a comment in here at some point about potentially bringing in a structural engineer for a review. Do we have a ballpark cost, or do we need that? Is it just a suggestion? The building is pretty solid, but just trying to beat around the, like we can manage this on our own, or can we not?
Director Bishop, please.
Yep, through you, Reeve. We didn't have time to get a quote back in time for this council meeting, but I can inquire and see how much that would be. I don't think it would be all that much. Just from what I've been told from contractor, the steel's in all right shape, but it's just kind of if staff is going to be there for 40 years, it's just kind of more like a peace of mind to have structural integrity and have the structural engineer sign off on it. I know if there were an expansion in the future, that would be needing some engineering as well. But just to have a quick look now at this point, just to make sure we're okay for the future, that's what kind of I was looking for.
Great, thank you. So with that, I'll read the amended motion for council. It's recommended that Committee of the Whole recommends, the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council direct staff in each of the 2 categories of options presented in order to commence repairs on the Public Works garage with recommended direction as follows. Number 1, the staff be directed to proceed with the work under the category of immediate repairs, including the following. A, full roof replacement, $170,000. Partial floor replacement, 40 by 70 feet, $60,000, including repair at the sinkhole location. C, repair the beams at $1,000. D, mechanical and electrical systems repairs as cost to be determined based on need. And 3, that council has established a target occupancy for the existing facility of 10 years. And the amended motion, is that still favorable to the mover and seconder, which were Councillors McDonald and Legree? Okay, thank you. So council, you've heard the discussion and you've heard the amendment. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you very much. And Manager Bishop, could you extend our appreciation to staff for their patience as we've gone through this journey? And then on behalf of council, I think, we'd like to extend our appreciation to you and Coordinator Collins. We've moved almost lightning speed on this as we've gone through some iterations of looking at outside options, and you gave us, as well as to acting CAO Latondras at the time. So you gave us very concrete and understandable information, which allowed us to move back to this site, and then are in the process of developing a very workable plan for us, which meets our capacity needs as we understand them, and also financially. So thank you very much for that. But if you could extend, especially our gratitude to staff for their patience. Thank you. And we'll move to E5.1, monthly tenant and maintenance report. So that Committee of the Whole received the monthly tenant facility and maintenance report as information, and we'll turn to Coordinator Collins, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need a mover. And so with that, mover is Councillor Andrew Dick, seconder is Councillor Legree. Discussion, and now Coordinator Collins.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So this is just a brief monthly update on tenant-occupied spaces at One Innovation and the MyFM Center. And I'll start with One Innovation. And I should note, it's just up to March 31st. I don't have April yet, and that'll come at the next meeting. So at One Innovation, we replaced a sump pump and repiped the drain in the Raytheon area to help prevent potential flooding in other rented spaces, as when their sump pump ran, it was backing up most of the building. So we've fixed that problem. We've given the rooftop units their annual servicing to maintain performance. We've responded to 2 separate call-outs for rooftop units that were not heating tenant spaces properly and had those fixed. We installed roof leak diverters in the Raytheon section to manage any water coming in and protect the space from flooding. And 1 malfunctioning toilet was replaced, as well as a baseboard heater that was not working. And at my FM Center, we replaced a set of faulty automatic on and off taps with manual taps, as the automatic ones would not shut off. And the acoustic panel installation project for the Bone Trail Algonquin First Nation Center has been awarded to Peace Drywall, and they are currently waiting for the supplier to produce the panels before installation can begin.
Thank you. Comments, questions, concerns from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you. And we'll move to the update on status of possible partnerships. That Committee of the Whole received the update on status of possible partnerships with the Valley Sport and Social Club for beach volleyball courts. Report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Andrew Dick, and Director Latondras, please.
Thank you, through you, Eve. At the March 25th council meeting, it was presented that Kirby Bentley from the Valley Sport and Social Club approached the town regarding the possibility of having beach volleyball courts constructed at Mattaway Park. At the March 25th meeting, direction was given to speak with Mr. Bentley to discuss the length of agreement and use by town residents. So I did reach out to him via telephone and email, so we had a couple of discussions. After those discussions, Mr. Bentley sent an email to me on April 14th, stating that at this point he believes the opportunity to create something meaningful for our youth in Renfrew is unlikely to materialize. Therefore, he kindly requests that his offer be removed from consideration by the council. So accordingly, at this time, there is no possibility of partnership between the town and Valley Sport and Social Club for the beach volleyball courts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Comments, questions from members of council? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And the next item is E.5.3, that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt the recreation trophy and banner policy. And mover, please. Councillor Legree, second Councillor McDonald. I laughed because you may not see this on screen, but everybody looks around real quick, and if there's a pause, so thank you. And so we'll move to Supervisor Eckford, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The policy that you see in front of you with the recreation trophy and banner policy is essentially a formalization of existing practice within the MyFM Center. One advantage of the staff that we've had on duty for a number of years is the experience that they bring, but sometimes that experience is a little bit informal and exists maybe within their own heads only. So this is essentially just basically formalizing the process by which we display trophies and banners within the MyFM Center and the way that we celebrate the accomplishments of our groups that use the building. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but as I say, it's important to remember this is just a formalization of existing practice.
Thank you. Comments, questions, members of council? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you for this report. It was well put together, and thank you for the policy. With all due respect, we don't own the building, the taxpayers do. The people that use it and bring home the trophies and the banners own it, not us. I don't feel comfortable dictating to them. The ones who pay the taxes on the building, I'm very uncomfortable with dictating to them when, where, and how they can display their winnings. We should be proud of that. We should be accommodating them. Obviously, there's been some issues. I don't know the background why this policy came forth. However, it's just common sense. You win, your trophy goes in the trophy case, your banner goes up for the year. At the end of the year, it comes down. It's simple math. I'm so not comfortable with this policy. I feel like we are overstepping our boundaries. Again, we don't pay for the building, they do. I'm not in favor of this, and I won't be voting in favor of this policy. Thanks.
Thank you. And
that's just, oh, sorry, Chair. I just want to make sure that staff know this is my comment. This isn't debatable. I don't need to debate with staff on this. This is my comment on this policy. Thanks.
Certainly, thank you. And as always, staff's information is solely to assist us. It's not a challenge to you or me. Thank you. And the Director of Latondres?
Thank you. Yeah, this is just a way of explanation of how it came up. We're trying to make it fair for all of the groups to have equal access to the small areas that we do have for them to display. And we did find that we had years and years of stuff from various organizations that we were running out of space to be able to go forward and let these groups put in new stuff and update it when they win, and just trying to make it fair for all the user groups. So that was why we decided if we could somehow formalize it so that we were able to say, yep, we were really happy you won, your banner stays in for this amount of time, or some of them will stay in forever, depending what they are. And and definitely if space allows, we let groups leave them in longer. It's just to make sure everybody has a fair shot at using the facility.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? And Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. I read somewhere that if a group wants to hang something and there's no room, that they can approach staff and the town of Renfrew will charge them to hang their stuff. I did read that somewhere. I can't bring it up right now, but it is in there. Again, it's common sense. You in, goes in for a year, comes out after that. Common sense. So again, I'm not in favor of this, and I won't be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not seeing that right away. I think, can anybody else point that out to me, please?
I can certainly say, sorry, through you, Chair, I can certainly say if it is in there, it's totally an omission by me. Our intention would never be to charge for displaying trophies and banners, that kind of thing.
And so I think it's item 5. Should an eligible group wish to display trophies and banners in an additional location, they can submit a request to install a separate display area at their own expense. Is that where you were finding it? Okay. Okay. So thank you.
Sorry, just to clarify that through you, that's if someone wants to bring in another case. So if we run out of room in our cases and they come and say, you know what, there's this area, can we put up a trophy case in there? We might not be able to have the budget to they're not cheap, to put another trophy case in, but if they want to put one in, then we'll definitely make sure they have the space to do it. So that may need to be clarified in the policy.
Okay. So just to borrow Councillor Andrew Dick's phrase, dumb it down for me. If my lawn bowling league has taken off and we decide that we'd like a 4x8 trophy with lights, we could come to you potentially and say, look, we'd like to put up this, and we would construct it and install all the lighting and pay for the electrical. And so that's what we're talking about with Section 5.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Chair. I think that there needs to be standardization here, so I'm happy this policy is here. When you're moving stuff, like if Vimo has this bowling thing up there and I want to put something up there, like it's staff just removing his stuff, putting mine up, that's why there needs to be standardized. And not all people that have banners up there do pay taxes to the town of Renfrew, and they're from all over the place. They're teams that come from AdMast and all over the place. So I'm happy with this policy, so I'll be supporting it. Thanks.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you. So, Chair, could we clarify that we have banners up there, the taxpayer, so Councillor Legre just said there's people using our facilities who are not paying to use our facilities. That's super interesting. Somebody needs to explain that to me, because we just built a multi-million-dollar facility, and yeah, and now they're not paying for it?
Yeah, could I give an example?
Certainly, as it was a direct question to you, yes, please.
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Andrew Dick. So I'll give you an example, a personal example. My son plays with the Ottawa Valley Aces. They won silver stick 2 years ago, and their trophy is at the Cobden Arena, the silver stick. He does not pay taxes at Whitewater Township. So, but his name is there on a banner. So that's what I'm saying. Just because not every banner there, everybody's name is taxpayer for the town of Renfrew or has an agreement for recreation with the town of Renfrew. That was my point, just to clarify.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you. I just assumed it was Mattaway, not Whitewater and Cobden.
It was an example, yeah.
Okay, so where's the example for Renfrew? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. So my name is on banners and trophies continuously still at the MyFM Center. I played for the Wolves for a competitive team. We've got one of the greatest winning teams to ever play the game at Renfrew.
Certainly trumps my lawn bowling, but go ahead.
But I grew up in Horton. I played for the Renfrew Wolves competitive team. So our taxes where I grew up then weren't contributing necessarily directly to the MyFM Center. So that's the point of Councillor Legre is, yes, we're all local, and it's identified that it has to be a Renfrew team, either minor hockey, minor soccer, minor ball, but not everyone who plays for the teams are directly from Renfrew or from the Renfrew area. So
I think we're totally off topic.
I was going to say we're really down the rabbit hole, and I was going to pull us back.
So
to be honest
I'm just going to,
yeah.
I'm just going to Chair, through you, I'm just going to should an eligible group, who decides who the eligible group is, wish to display trophies and banners in an additional location, they can submit a request to install a separate display area at their own expense. Their group will solely be responsible for maintenance, cleaning, and repair of this display area. They own the building, not us. Totally disagree with this policy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we've gotten that.
Thank you.
Okay, and so with that, any further comments or questions from council? So I'll add my own personal comment at this time, because I think you've raised an interesting point, and my thought process is that we are the managers of the building on behalf of the community, and as such, that has some obligations, and I think this policy is a means of us addressing our obligation to the community. So with that, is there any other comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? 1. Thank you, Council. And we'll move on to E.5.4, that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approves the hiring of a full-time maintenance laborer janitor MLJ to maintain current service levels. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legre, second by Councillor McWhirter. And Director Latondras, could you give us an explanation and your report, please?
Yep, thank you. Through you, Reeve. So on April 4th, we received a resignation, which has left a new MLJ vacancy in the department. The departing member did cite stress and work-life balance. Previously, with one arena operating from September till March and a smaller recreation center, the department had 6 full-time staff and 2 students, for a total of 8 staff. As noted in the report presented to Council on March 25th, the addition of staff was recommended by Service Delivery Report in 2022. On a sorry, that just went through some of the background. So then on March 31st, 2025, the term position ended. That employee found employment elsewhere within the town. The ending of the term position, along with the 2 vacancies, which were brought to council on March 25th, the decision was made not to fill any of those vacant positions. So the current recreation operations team consists of 2 lead hands, 5 MLJs, 3 skilled operators, which is the same size as summer of 2024. We do anticipate having 4 students this summer. However, they need to be trained and require supervision from our other staff. And we have students from May 5th to August 22nd. The 3 term positions that we have every year end on May 31st and resume in September. So term positions have a maximum initial term of 6 months with the possibility of a 3-month extension for a total of 9 months in the calendar year. Based on this limitation, extending term positions to provide additional coverage in the early summer will take away the equivalent time from September, which is one of our busiest ice months. The current building is about 3 times larger than before the expansion, with the potential for 2 ice services in operation until June and reopening in September, requiring 357 hours of rec operation staff time per week. This overlaps with the field maintenance season, which starts in April until October, which includes mowing, trimming, and cutting, which requires approximately 110 hours a week, 60 hours a week for Mattaway Park and Fields, and 50 hours a week at our other parks. This all means that the department requires a minimum of 467 hours of staff time per week for 7 months of the year, but we currently only have 400 hours of full-time staff available. Annual and special leave also need to be accounted for, so accordingly the staff complement presents the risk that facility closures may be required if minimum staffing levels cannot be met to ensure the safe operation of recreation facilities. Staffing schedules in the department are required to consider not only regular operational duties and requirements, but also the schedule of events that are running in either the building or on the fields. So there is an appendix included that discusses how we look at scheduling, and Supervisor Eckford can give more information if council would like more info on how these schedules are built. So the options available to the town at this time are hire 1 new full-time MLJ position to fill the new vacancy, which would give us a chance to maintain the adjusted operations that we adopted on March 31st. Even if we fill this MLJ position, the June ice schedule, we're trying to thoroughly review it to see what we can accommodate. And some rentals users will be affected, or the other option is to not fill this MLJ role. So it's going to further affect our service standards, and we may need to look at facility hours, and the June ice schedule will absolutely be affected. And we'll also not be able to accommodate as many bookings within the facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions from members of council? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So just drop my pen. I do have a few questions, Chair. And the first question, it's in here, so I'm going to address it. The departing member cited stress and work-life balance issues as the reason for their departure. I just want to confirm that they work 40 hours a week. And then I'll have a supplementary.
Director Latondres or Mr. Eckford.
Correct, yeah, staff are scheduled, through you, Chair, staff are scheduled for 40 hours per week, correct.
Okay, thank you, and supplementary question on that. Did this departing member have a doctor's note, letter of resignation, in regards to citing stress and work-life balance?
And Director?
Thank you, through. Yes, they did.
Okay. Did they have a doctor's note?
Director?
No doctor's note, just a letter of resignation.
Just a letter of resignation. Yeah. So we don't know if that's the truth. Maybe they just wanted to quit and that's what they said. I just don't understand why this is in the report, why they left. I don't think council needs to know why they resigned. someone resigned, we don't need to know the reasons.
Okay, well, sometimes it's, respectfully, sometimes it's helpful if we hear they've gone to an adjoining municipality and getting $1.25 more an hour. So those, the comments are, I think council has asked about comments in the past.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So my next question is how many hours are we saving that we won't be working with the ball diamonds this year because we have no lights? So we should save quite a few hours on staff not working on the ball diamonds this year. Has that been taken into account? Because I see a lot of negative in here. I don't see any solutions or good things that could come out of no lights at the ball diamonds.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Okay, so if I get your question, what we're looking for, is there a resulting less drawdown on staff time because the ball fields will not operate after dark?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Director?
Respectfully, I don't believe that council has made a final decision unless I missed that as of yet.
So we don't have that answer.
No, we don't. Okay, thank you. And I think, it sounds like we're waiting on a pile of things to come together, so we may not get that answer for a while. Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, it's carried. Thank you, council. And with council's indulgence, if we could take a 15-minute break and go back at 7:30 just to water and other things. Thank you. Yes, welcome back to staff, council, and our viewing public. And with that, we'll move to item E55, which is 2025 ice painting procurement. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the procurement of Eastern Rink Services as the lowest bidder at a quoted price of $7,615.98 to paint MyFM Center ice pads in preparation for the 2025-2026 ice season. Can I have a mover, please? I need a mover and seconder to get this on for discussion. So mover is Councillor Legree, seconder is Councillor Sobolski, and discussion. Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Through you, Chair. So sorry, is the staff not going to give a report, or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, before we discuss it? Or
my apologies, Director Latondres.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So the ice painting at the MyFM Centre had been historically completed by Eastern Rink Services until the 2024 ice painting, when it was completed by Canadian Rink Services. For 2025 ice painting, quotes were solicited from 3 ice painting companies: Canadian Rink Services, Wall to Wall Ice, and Eastern Rink Services. Eastern Rink has quoted the lowest in the request process by $3,436. According to the procurement policy, prescribed council approval is required for 3.2D when a request for tender is not awarded to the lowest compliant bid, and 3.2I, where a majority irregularity precludes the award of a tender to the supplier submitting the lowest responsive bid. So the options available to the town are noted as being 1, awarding the ice painting at 2 Eastern Rink Services, or 2, select the next lowest bidder, which is Wall to Wall Ice, at a quoted price of $11,052. Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies. I sometimes get confused that I can see the report, that's kind of you, and that, we shouldn't hear from. But anyway, thank you. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So as the town's procurement policy allows for council to select a bidder of their choosing, and from matters arising from the third-party investigation, I will be voting against this motion and requesting that council consider the lowest bid on this. And I would like a recorded vote on this when that time comes. Thank you.
So yeah, I'm thinking you're going to suggest the next lowest bid, because that's what you'd said lowest. I think you meant next lowest.
Sorry, yes. Consider this the next lowest bid. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further comments? All right, I'm going to call a question. All those in favor? Oh, a recorded vote. My apologies. Yeah, you're right. Too much water. My brain got waterlogged.
Just clarification.
Yes.
Sorry, clarification. Councillor McDonald, do you have some clarification?
Thank you, Councillor.
I just threw you under the bus, buddy.
Thank you, Second Vice Chair.
Chair, through you, are we dealing with the first motion? It's not being amended yet,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Sorry.
That's okay. My job's to steer the bus. Somebody else has to pedal.
Okay, so we are dealing with through you, Chair, we are dealing with the first motion. Recorded vote was asked by Councillor Andrew Dick, so we'll start there. So,
Opposed.
Councillor Legree,
In favor?
Councillor McWhorter,
Opposed.
Councillor McDonald,
Opposed.
Councillor Sobolski,
In favor.
and Revimo.
Opposed.
So the vote is lost, 4-2.
Okay, thank you. And I am suspecting we'll have a motion from the floor.
Thank you, Revimo. I'd like to put with the assistance of Clerk Aird, I'd like to put a motion on the floor that Renfrew Town Council accept the next lowest bid from Wall to Wall Ice Painting. I'm pretty sure I got that name right. And if Clerk Aird could help us out with more of the wording, that we award that company the work to be complete.
So thank you. I would suggest that it's within the terms of our procurement policy, and that council is being requested to take the services of wall-to-wall ice from Stittsville at a cost of, I'm sorry, I can't see the cost for some reason, $11,052.23. I think wording like that would probably.
Sorry, through you, Chair, just a quick clarification. It's wall-to-wall? Is that the name of the company? That's it? Okay.
Could read the motion for us, please.
Thank you for your patience. Through you, Chair. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council, in accordance with the town's procurement policy, accept the next lowest bid of $11,052.23 submitted by Wall to Wall Ice.
I'm looking for a mover and seconder. Councillor Andrew Dick moves it, seconded by Councillor John McDonald. And discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Council. And next we'll move to E.6.1, which is the strong mayor's powers. And that Committee of the Whole received the strong mayor powers extended to Town of Renfrew report as information. A mover, please. Councillor Andrew Dick, seconded by Councillor Legree. And Clerk Eric, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Okay, so a notice of proposed amendment to the Ontario Regulation 530-22 was given on April 9th, identifying 169 municipalities with councils of 6 or more members who would be extended the strong mayor powers. Okay, so that came out on October the 9th. Ontario Strong Mayor Powers, initially introduced for Toronto and Ottawa in 2002, has been gradually rolled out across the province with the intent to help cut red tape and accelerate delivery of key provincial priorities. The powers would allow heads of council of single and lower tier municipalities with councils of 6 or more members to support shared provincial municipal priorities, such as encouraging the approval of new housing and constructing and maintaining infrastructure to support housing, including roads and transit. Based on the April 9th news release, and this was coming from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the strong mayor powers and duties are said to include choosing to appoint the municipality's chief administrative officer, hiring certain municipal department heads and establishing and reorganizing departments, creating committees of council, assigning their functions and appointing the chairs and vice chairs of those committees, proposing the municipal budget, which would be subject to council amendments and a separate head of council veto and council override process, proposing certain municipal bylaws if the mayor is of the opinion that the proposed bylaw could potentially advance a provincial priority, vetoing certain bylaws if the head of council is of the opinion that all or part of the bylaw could potentially interfere with a provincial priority, and bringing forward matters for council's consideration if the head of council is of the opinion that considering the matter could potentially advance a provincial priority. So all that to say, so what I've done is I've kind of taken that list and broken it down, and you'll see in the report, I've tried to identify kind of those components and how they would either affect or be present in the town of Renfrew. So kind of the council committees, so the power to establish or dissolve committees, and like I said, the power to appoint chairs and vice chairs. The town administration, so again, the mayor would have the power to appoint and dismiss the chief administrative officer and assign their duties. They could hire and dismiss other department heads that are not under the authority of legislation. So there are a few key positions that are legislatively required, so those positions would not be affected. They can also undertake and provide research and advice for the restructuring of the organization and assigning duties. Also, the duty to introduce the town budget. So each year, the mayor is required to present a proposed municipal budget no later than February 1st to town council. And then through that, there's a process, and again, that's identified in the report, of how that's presented and kind of the council's opinion on any amendments and how that's put forward, as well as the veto power or changes that are requested. And then, again, outlining some of the impacts, but I will be kind of perfectly honest. We are still finding out more information. Myself, as well as our CAO, have been kind of undergoing discussions. We're in a unique position here in the town of Renfrew because how this rolls out and the timing of this rolls out is May 1st, and we're still in the middle of budget conversations. So what most of the 169 municipalities have already gone through their budget, which is kind of, I think, some of the dates of why they presented. So how this will affect our budget, our current budget process, and how we're undertaking that right now is still yet to be determined, although we're quickly trying to determine those answers for council. And then again, how the overall rollout would affect or could affect procedures down the road. I do believe that there's some amendments that may be required to our current municipal bylaws and policies. That includes our procedural bylaw. That is the next item on the agenda. But we are doing best efforts to get those answers for you and to find out as much information as possible. And that does include some training with the province as well. So if there's any questions based on the report or anything that I can determine for you, I'm happy to try.
Thank you. And Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Chair, and I just want to make a statement, then I'll have a question for you. Personally, I have some real concerns of potential overreach and abuse with this type of power for anyone. It's my opinion this type of governance goes against proper democratic principles. Bottom line is I feel it's way too much power and authority put into one person. And Chair, the question to you, because you've been involved in municipal politics for a while, is what's your position on this and what's your thoughts with regard to this legislation? Thank you.
I agree with you. I don't like it. Having been a mayor and having served under a number of mayors, some great, some not so great. In a case where a mayor is not so great, council has the ability to guide the agenda and get things done. And so, to me, this is misnamed. It's not the strong mayor powers; it's the weak mayor powers. I think a strong mayor works with their council. It doesn't matter how terrible it is. You can always find common ground. And so I've said that from the start. I think this should be termed the weak mayor powers. When I look around the province, I can cite 2 examples of issues where most recently the mayor of Aurelia, the municipality had undergone a process where they had hired a CAO. It had been about a 4-month process, I believe, with a recruiting team. And because the former CAO had retired, and the new CAO had essentially resigned from their job and was in the process of moving, had been given a laptop and I believe a phone and was part of the onboarding process. And on a Friday, the mayor essentially said, no, we're not doing this, I'm going to hire somebody else. So there's likely to be some cost, which nobody will ever know about. But this CAO that's coming is fairly young, and in theory had a number of years left, as the CAO. So the mayor, ignored the process. and arbitrarily picked someone on staff who may or may not be qualified, and time will tell. What's intriguing about this one was that the mayor was given strong mayor powers by the province in response to the ice and snowstorm that had hit the Aurelia area about 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever the numbers are. So it was a temporary solution. So the mayor exercised those powers, even though it didn't, to my estimation, and I think most people's, have anything to do with provincial regulations or advancing housing. So once that, once you've opened the present, how do you rewrap it? And that's what's happened there. So again, I think it's I agree with you. I think it's too much. I have no worries about our current mayor. I don't think Mayor Sidney will indulge in overreach. But I agree with you. I think the budget process, it's a process that is messy. And it's meant to be messy because you have to have honest dialogue between staff and council has to respect the strategic plan, all the asset management issues that come forward. So we have good instruments, and most councils have good instruments. There is no need for this legislation, to be quite frank with you. So, I refuse to call it strong mayor powers. I've said it's the weak mayor powers, and that's what it does. It's correcting a non-existent problem. Another example is if you take a look at the town of Caledon, the mayor, I think, let go the CAO and a couple of other people, and then most of their senior staff have resigned at some point. So they've been in 3 years, the last 2 years, of hiring and rehiring because people have departed. And so they've stripped away quite a bit of institutional knowledge and history. So it's probably handicapped one of the fastest growing regions in central Ontario. So I'm not in favor of this legislation in any way, shape, or form. It's a long way of saying something, but thank you for the question. Councillor Legree.
Through you, Chair. I think I'm reading this wrong, but I just want a clarification. So Section 4, Item 4, it says the mayor can direct town staff to carry out duties and implement decisions of the mayor where they relate to exercise of strong mayor's powers. And it says below that, with the exception of the first above noted power, the mayor may delegate these powers to the CAO. So does that mean if a mayor of a municipality doesn't delegate these, you can't direct staff? Or am I reading that wrong? Because I could be.
Please.
So through you, Reeve, to Councillor Legree, what that is referring to is all of the administrative ones where the ability to organizational change, hire and fire the directors or head of departments. The only thing obviously that a mayor cannot delegate down to the CAO is the hiring firing of the CAO. So that's all that's trying to say is, so yes, it does mean that like the CAO would still have the ability to go through the normal processes of recruitment if there's a recruitment need at that director level. But my understanding, though we'll get further clarification, is that the mayor would have to agree to it. But again, as the clerk said, we are still searching all the background. We'll be honest that none of us had expected it to come to this level this quickly, and so none of us have taken any of that training specifically on strong mayor powers other than from a general informative basis. But my understanding is that the mayor can delegate the authority to the CAO to hire, fire the department heads, to do the organizational chart change. The only thing they can't obviously pass to the CAO is a hire and firing of the CAO.
Thank you. And Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. And just to confirm, when we say all in favor, we're just saying all in favor to receive the report. Just so the public is aware of that we had no choice on this. This was mandated from the provincial government. We are just voting in favor to receive the report. Thank you.
Exactly. So there may be a further report once the mayor and staff have a chance to consume this. But regardless of what this mayor does, what happens in 2026? Because this power is not going to be, it's not given for a short period of time, it's given in theory for forever. So, all right, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you, council. And next is the procedural bylaw E.6.2, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the recommended changes to the procedural bylaw and the revised bylaw be brought forward for final adoption. So a mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and Clerk Arrett, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So originally back in March, we did bring forward a red line procedural bylaw with a bunch of notable changes on it. Some of it was based on new eyes, some of it was based on some things that we noticed weren't quite working when we changed to the new structure of incorporating Committee of the Whole into council meetings, such as 8-hour-long council meetings. But there were a number of changes that were noted. We did talk about it through Committee of the Whole at the time. Some minor feedback that was provided by council was taken back, and what I've done is I've cleaned up the bylaw. I've removed all of the red line changes, which are always hard to read through. I have highlighted a couple sections that either as I was cleaning up the red line version or something that's kind of popped up since that, I've highlighted just again so that there's full transparency on any additional changes that might have needed to be brought forward or clarification that was made. I will say I did all of this in advance of April 9th, so there may be a few other changes that might be required based on the strong mayor powers, but again, this is for Committee of the Whole to take a look at. If there's any changes you would wish to see, I can certainly note those. I am hoping to bring forward the clean version for council's approval on May 13th, as well as the adoption of the bylaw in the same meeting. I do feel that once council has chosen to adopt the bylaw, that we do have a training session which will be held in close to review, really to train what some of those things actually mean, right? And so that everybody has a clear understanding. And with that, if any questions, let me know.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And I'd like to have a motion that Renfrew Town Council rise from Committee of the Whole at 7:53 p.m. Mover, Councillor Cebulski, second, Councillor Andrew Dick. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And we'll move to item F.1, Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting minutes. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff to initiate a letter on behalf of Town Council to update the County of Renfrew 2013 study on the economic impact of the Renfrew and Area Health Village. Mover, please. Councillor Cebulski, second. Councillor Legree. Discussion. Councillor Cebulski, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. It's, again, once our Economic Development Committee, we met, we had good discussion. There's a few things arising tonight just from the meeting that needs Town Council approval, and this first one is a letter just asking the county if they're willing to update the information that's provided for the health units and in the area, just to see what it does for the economics of Renfrew. It's something that was a nice piece that was delivered, but it could use some updating. So.
Thank you. So the report was completed in 2013. It identified that block of from Moore over to Highway 60 and from Raglan back to what's now Health Services Village Lane. And again, there was a member of your committee brought forward some information from the hospital which suggested that they thought there might be additional private sector opportunities to add to what the hospital's doing. And this would make a nice piece of information to bring forward, and then also so that we know in the future what to try and protect once we have a value on it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much, Council. And that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to communicate with neighboring communities to gather information on what resources may be required in order to host a film production in the area, and that a maximum of 4 hours be utilized by staff to determine if pursuing film production may be feasible. Motion, please, or a mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second by Councillor Legree, and discussion. Councillor Cebulski.
Thank you, through Chair, and I'll be short. It's self-explanatory. We're looking to just put a letter out to neighboring communities to understand, what they've learned, pros, cons, and any tips that they can provide us if this is an avenue that we want to chase.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Opposed. My apologies again. Just trying to keep the meeting going. Okay. Got to get it flowing. Thank you. The Renfrew Town Council directs staff to bring forward potential options for the allocation of resources towards creating promotional materials that would promote the newly expanded MyFM Centre to drive economic initiatives with potential user groups. Mover, please. Councillor Cebulski, second Councillor Legree. Discussion? Councillor Cebulski, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. And again, just to mention that we have, definitely a county class facility and so on beyond that. There's a lot out at the MyFM Centre that we will get to utilize. And the discussion was, how do we let others know that we have it? How do we promote it? How do we entice other groups of people there to use it and teach them what's available to be used? So this is an ask to see if we can pool our resources and put some ideas together to get them out in magazines or other ways through our economic developer to promote Renfrew and our MyFM Centre.
Great initiative. Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. F2 is the County of Renfrew correspondence. So just that warden fella sent something about the Order of Ontario. So they're asking for nominations, and it's been extended until April 30th. And as we know, volunteers really drive what makes our communities special and serves to assist us in attaching our residents to the community. So if you know of anybody, please nominate them. And then the next thing is Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus April 25th newsletter, April 2025 newsletter. And just to highlight, total exports from Eastern Ontario to other jurisdictions outside the region, public and private, is $64.6 billion a year, and that was in 2021. And $42.5 billion is total private sector exports from Eastern Ontario to other jurisdictions outside the region, so commercial and industrial. So that's a significant amount of money that rattles around in our community, and so we just wanted to make sure we understood what we're talking about. Again, that's 2021 numbers. And when you go through the next page where it talks about dollar volume for exports, when you go down to Renfrew County, it's scientific research and development services. That was our most significant and largest commercial or industrial export, $345 million. So again, just wanted to impress upon the public how valuable our sectors are to our local economy. And with that, we'll move to Renfrew County District Health Unit. There was nothing there to really highlight. It was a good meeting with lots of information. I would take questions, but I'm not going to go through it if that's okay with council. Next is that the minutes, that Renfrew Town Council confirmed the minutes of the regular meeting of council dated April 8, 2025, the special meetings of council dated April 1 and April 4, 2025. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Andrew Dick, second by Councillor Sobalski. So on the agenda, you'll notice the closed meeting minutes, but we haven't received those yet, so we've just stroked that off the end of the motion. Any further discussion? Any comments, questions about the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, Council. And we'll move to H1, which is communications and petitions. That Renfrew Town Council, in response to St. Joseph's Catholic High School Prom Committee's request, approve a fee waiver of $80 plus tax for the hall rental at MyFM Center on Friday, April 25, 2025, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and further, that the money be allocated from the grants to organizations budget. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, second by Councillor McDonald. Discussion? Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair, to you. What's a sound bath?
I'm sorry?
What is a sound bath? It's in the...
Oh. We'll pass that on to the clerk. Yeah, sorry. I thought I'd read that somewhere.
Through you, Chair. It is a therapeutic treatment. It's usually done with, I'm going to have friends that are going to get very mad at me for this. Bowls, dishes, it's a sound. The only way I can describe it is like running your finger along like the top of a glass and how it makes different sounds depending on the water intake of the glasses. It can be a very therapeutic spiritual experience. The prom committee is hosting this event as a fundraiser for their prom, and with money going towards their prom committee. And I do apologize to my friends who are very much into that, and I probably just butchered that explanation.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And H2, I'm going to take the unusual step of reading the names that we received correspondence from, because in case we weren't able to either individually or collectively respond to them, that way they'll know that their information was heard. So we had letters and emails addressed to the Mayor and Renfrew Town Council in support of the Chamber from Amber Sweeney, Billy Patterson, Bonnie Hastings, Brandon Potter, Chris McCrae, Christine Jarrett, Doug Humphreys, Dr. Lawrence Scott, and Dr. Lucas Regier, Dwayne Johnson, Jennifer Lavallee, Jill Blimke, John Milliken, Julie Vilmuir, Kent Tubman, Lori Wickers-Shear, Leighton Knightlock, Leslie Wright, Marg McNabb Tubman, Mel Blimke, Norm Dagg, Patty Dillabo, Ray Ellen Fraser, Sandra Swain, William Lepine. And H3, petition in support of McDougall Mill. We had correspondence from Sarah Boyer, online petition signatures of 935 names, in-person petition signatures of 75 names, and we had the McDougall Mill Museum petition comments. H4, community correspondence in support of the McDougall Mill Museum, with letters that were addressed to the Mayor and Town Council in support were from Kathy Morris, J.B. Belanger, Judy Bates, Karen Hanford, Linda Bolt, Margaret DeBow, Margaret Rogers, Marlene Pascoe, Patrick John Mills, Shelley Anderson. Resident correspondence from R. Chamberlain in opposition to the McDougall Mill. Resident correspondence from A. McCormick regarding our budget meeting, and resident correspondence from K. Bolt, concerns regarding Vaughanshire River Park and Trail. Just a second here. Municipal correspondence from Bruce County enabling a municipal response to tariffs, and municipal correspondence, child welfare funding, correspondence from municipalities, Township Brunel, Lindock, and Raglan, Municipality of St. Charles. H10, Community Living, Renfrew County South 60th year anniversary and Community Living Month. And as you were aware, Council, there's going to be a flag-raising ceremony to be held on May 1st in honor of Community Living, Renfrew County South's 60th anniversary, and in honor of Community Living Month. H11 is the Women's Sexual Assault Center, Renfrew County, 7th Annual We Stand With Survivors campaign, and a banner will be hung for the month of May at the Renfrew Visitor Information Center in support of Women's Sexual Assault Center, Renfrew County, 7th Annual We Stand With Survivors campaign. H12, AMO policy update and watch file. So you'll see the AMO policy update with the new provincial cabinet. And again, congratulations to Billy Deneau, who is the parliamentary assistant to the Ministry of Culture, and I believe tourism is the other attached function. AMO policy update, expanding advocacy on development charges, so Buy Canadian and Buy Ontario initiatives and the Code of Conduct. AMO policy updates, expanding strong mayor powers, improving ambulance procurement. AMO watch file, March 20. AMO watch file, March 27. AMO watch file, April 3. AMO watch file, April 10. So with that, we'll move to resolutions. Recommended action. Oh, I'm sorry. Were the questions on all of that? Councillor Cybulski.
Thank you, Chair. And I would like to ask a question through you, and only because we are voting on the Boncha River Trail, and I had reservations in the safety, and I did ask staff to look into it, so if the manager would be willing to speak to H7, just the correspondent concerns there, if the trail and the slope stability, if she could quickly.
Thank you. And Manager Springer, please.
Through you, Chair, Council was provided with a written response from the department, but I can summarize for the public. The slope stability study in question was done in 2015, and it was specific to the development of the subdivision. However, out of an abundance of caution, we did reach out to the engineers that did the most recent geotechnical studies for Hunter Gate, and based on their knowledge of the surrounding areas, they provided the following information. The relatively minor regrading required for the trail appears to be unlikely to have any meaningful impact on the slopes that would affect the new development. And walking trails and similar works also have surficial stability issues, erosion issues, etc., that manifest themselves on ongoing maintenance and periodic rehabilitation. The works being described, however, rarely result in major catastrophic slope stability problems. I did note in my written response that surface stability and erosional issues are expected, and the various trail building and maintenance manuals that the working group consulted have solutions for dealing with those issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it. I have some questions on this, but we're voting on it later, correct?
Yes.
I'll wait till then, and we can pull it, and I can ask my questions then.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So matters arising from Committee of the Whole, that Renfrew Town Council adopt the following resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on April 8, 2025. Number one, that Renfrew Town Council approve the application for the designation of lands as being not subject to part lot control for Block 16 of Plan 49M-93, designated as Parts 1 to 12. Plan 49R-20201 and Block 21, Plan 49M-93, Parts 1 to 12. Plan 49R-20695, located within the Hunter Gate subdivision, Phase 4. Number two, that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to proceed with work required to construct the Boncha River Trail in accordance with the development plan. Number three, that Renfrew Town Council approve the recommended amendments to the Town of Renfrew workplace violence, harassment, sexual harassment, and discrimination policy, the wellness policy, and the health and safety policy, and further, that the appropriate bylaws be brought forward for approval. So can I get a mover, please? Councillor Legree, seconder, Councillor Cybulski. And with that, comments, questions, concerns from members of council? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So I do have some questions in regards to the number two.
So would I be rash in suggesting that you would like that withdrawn so we could talk about it separately?
Yeah,
And
if you wouldn't mind, Chair?
Okay, thank you. So, Council, would you be able to proceed on voting on items 1 and 3? Okay, thank you. So with that, I'll ask for the vote that the resolutions, with the exception of number 2, be considered by Council. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And now we'll move to question number 2, which is the Boncher River Trail. So, Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So I'm caught here with this, everybody. Like, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea. I'm just concerned with a lot of things here on this.
Move for a second.
So one is like the parking issue for me is a big one, because like the area over there, there's a lot of houses that have multi vehicles in their yard, and we're talking about this being, tourists, and people are going to come and walk our trail, and my question is where are they going to park? So that's my concern. I don't think I'm here to look for answers or debate about it. I'm just here to express my concerns. Another one of my concerns, a big concern to me obviously, is, given the financial challenging year we're having, how is it reasonable to start a new recreational project when we're struggling to maintain the ones we have? And obviously where this is going. We don't even have lights at our ball diamonds, but we're going to start a new recreation project. So I have concern there. The people that live down there have been told, they're not allowed to develop, they're not allowed to do this because of this hazard, and yet we're moving forward with a walking trail. So my concern is that here we go again. We're going to do something, and then it's going to cost us a heck of a lot of money in years to come. And don't get me wrong, I think this is a great idea. I like it. I think it should be here, but I do have concerns. And so that's where I'm kind of caught, and the reason I'm talking is because I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I want them to know that I'm hearing their concerns. I'm hopefully addressing their concerns, and I would like to hear Manager Springer's, maybe I would like to hear her comments on something that I've talked about, because I'm really on the fence on this, and I would like, if she would like to, I would love to hear her comments on what I just said, possibly.
Okay, I'll turn to her in 1 second.
Yes.
I have to correct an error. Could I get a mover and seconder for that Renfrew Town Council direct staff to proceed with work required to construct the Boncher River Trail in accordance with the development plan? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Andrew Dick. Thank you. My apologies. And Manager Springer.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So as was mentioned in the development plan, there is some on-site parking available in the area next to the pumping station. So there's about 2 or 3 spots on the pavement, and then if you take a drive down there, there's a big grass area right in front of the pumping station that could, with a little bit of gravel, be made into additional parking. Street parking was never considered as an option for this. It is suspected that most people that will come will be walking there from that community. A great example is Gillies Grove and Arnprior. They have no dedicated parking, and they are advertised as the biggest, tallest tree in all of Ontario, or the biggest white pine or something like that. It is something that is a tourist attraction, and they have no dedicated parking, and they don't seem to have issues. In terms of the costs, as noted, we do have a donation. Costs are anticipated to actually be slightly less than what that donation is, which does give us some flexibility and a bit of extra money there to in case things do cost more. And in terms of the people who are in that area that have been told that they're not allowed to develop in that area, they are not allowed to put an addition or a shed, something that is permanent, that is going to have a large load bearing item, a trail that you're just walking on is very different in terms of the geotechnical implications of having that. I think that covers everything. Not sure.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? I'm going to call the vote then. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? All right, thank you. That's been carried. Thank you, Council. And matters arising directly from Committee of the Whole meeting, excuse me, that Renfrew Town Council adopt the following resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on April 22nd. E.1.3, that Renfrew Town Council approve the additional budget for the Filter 1 rehabilitation project and direct staff to approve Aqua's expenditure request for the project with the additional cost to be funded from reserve. E.1.4, that Renfrew Town Council approve the additional budget for the WWTP walkway membrane project and direct staff to approve Aqua's expenditure request for the project with $90,000 of additional funding to be taken from the biosolids cross-auger budget. E.1.5, that Renfrew Town Council authorize the hiring of a temporary landfill operator, 1, to cover an approved leave of absence. E.2.1, that Renfrew Town Council execute a letter of agreement with the Ministry of Transportation to receive the 2025 dedicated gas tax funding of $245,313 in support of public transportation. E5.4, that Renfrew Town Council approves the hiring of a full-time maintenance laborer, janitor, MLJ, to maintain current service levels. E5.5, that Renfrew Town Council approve the procurement of the procurement of wall-to-wall ice services as the, please.
Through you, Chair, just to help you out, that motion was changed from what was originally posted on the agenda, that Renfrew Town Council, in accordance with the town's procurement policy, accept the next lowest bid of $11,052.23 submitted by Wall to Wall Ice.
Okay, thank you. So, Council, you are able to request any one of these to be pulled and voted on separately. So I'll take discussion at this point. Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, and I believe E.5.4, it wasn't a vote in unanimous, so in Committee of the Whole, so I think we should pull that.
Okay.
Other than that, I think everything else is fine.
Okay, thank you. And so with the concurrence of the mover and seconder, we would discuss all of the items with the exception of E5.4, recognizing that we have a new E5.5, which you've heard verbally. And so is Council... I need a mover and seconder for?
Those... You haven't got a mover and seconder yet.
I don't have a mover and seconder yet? Okay, so I would take a mover and seconder. I'm sorry. Councillor Andrew Dick, Councillor Jason Legree. Boy, it's going to be a long county council tomorrow if I can't get through tonight. So with that, you've heard the changes. All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you very much, Council. And the next motion is that Renfrew Town Council approves the hiring of a full-time maintenance laborer, janitor, MLJ, to maintain current service levels. And a mover, please. Councillor Jason Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None? Oh, two. I'm sorry, two. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And apologies to Councillor McWhirter. For some reason, I'm calling everybody by their first name on this side, and just you and Councillor Cebulski by your surname. So don't take it personally. And we'll move to bylaws. being a bylaw to 33-2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 39, 2024, being a bylaw to appoint council members to advisory committees, teams, local boards, and other entities. 35-2025, being a bylaw to enter into a memorandum of understanding agreement with Renfrew Collegiate Institute for the purpose of renovating the existing throwing pit on town-owned property at 1 Mattaway Park Drive. 36-2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 94-2022, being a bylaw to adopt various human resources policy, which is the wellness policy. 37-2025, being a bylaw to adopt a health and safety policy and workplace violence, harassment, sexual harassment, and discrimination policy to comply with the Occupational Health and Safety Act, RSO 1990 C01. 38-2025, being a bylaw to adopt the terms of reference for the Preventing Auto Theft Grant Working Group. 39-2025, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between His Majesty the King in right of the Province of Ontario, represented by the Ministry of Transportation for Province of Ontario and the Town of Renfrew related to funding provided by the Province of Ontario to the Town of Renfrew under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation. And the recommended action is that bylaws listed on the agenda of April 2025 be taken as read and passed. And so you can see the bylaws listed. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Andrew Dick, seconded by Councillor Jason Legree. Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. Motion, of which notice has previously been given, that Renfrew Town Council approve an exemption to residents of the town of Renfrew from May 1st until May 31st annually from bylaw 12-200, section 4.15 sub B and section 4.15 sub I, to provide for residents to participate in no mow May, and further that the restrictions on noxious plants in section 41.15 sub B and the restrictions on dilapidated, collapsed, or partially constructed structures and injurious insects, termites, rodents, vermin, or other pests in section 4.15 sub I of bylaw 12-2000 remain in effect. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree and a seconder. And Councillor McWhorter. And so if there is any discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you, Council. It's carried. And we'll move to, whereas the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, AODA, sets forth standards to ensure accessibility for individuals with disabilities, and whereas public facilities, including museums, are required to comply with these standards to provide equitable access to all members of the community. Now therefore be it resolved, the Renfrew Town Council directs staff to provide a staff report at the next regular meeting of council on the compliance requirements of the AODA as they specifically pertain to the McDougall Mill Museum, and further this report includes an assessment of the current accessibility status of the McDougall Mill and recommendations for any necessary improvements required to meet the AODA 2025 deadline. And I believe Councillor McWhorter, you'd like to move that. And a seconder, please, Councillor McDonald. And discussion. My only comment is, or a question, when we say the next regular meeting, to the clerk and the CEO, if staff isn't able to meet that, are we setting them up to fail, firstly, and secondly, is there any way of being sure that they can meet that deadline? Oh, I'm sorry, Director Latondres?
Thank you. Through you, we can meet that deadline. I'm confident of that.
Okay, good, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you very much. And next is that Renfrew Town Council directs staff in advance of the 2026 budget deliberations to prepare a comprehensive report on the current operations of the Renfrew landfill site, including an analysis of current operating costs, financial projections, and any notable issues, and further, the staff be directed to investigate the feasibility of alternative service delivery of waste management operations. And mover, please. Councillor McDonald, seconder. Councillor McWhirter, and discussion. Councillor McDonald, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, in preparation for the 2026 budget considerations, which is only months away, it's my opinion we need a big picture overview of what is required at our landfill. We've been informed about building conditions, replacement of weigh scales, slope stability, and we have a 15 to 45-year lifespan to consider, so I'd like to see all of our options with regard to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Questions, concerns? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried, thank you. That Renfrew Town Council directs staff in advance of the 2026 budget deliberations to prepare a comprehensive report on the current building maintenance operations, including an analysis of current operating costs, financial projections, and any notable issues, and further, the staff be directed to investigate the feasibility of alternative service delivery for the maintenance of Mattaway, Town Hall, and the library. Could I suggest we change that to MyFM Center? Is that what you're after? Okay. So I think, that could be considered a friendly amendment. And the chair has the ability to rule on that, so ruled. So any further discussion? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. Again, this is for the 2026 budget considerations, and I'd like included with that contract and out services with a cost-benefit analysis with regard to these locations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And to staff, this is understandable? Okay. Director Lutondris.
Sorry, can I just get a little bit of clarification in terms of what maintenance operations, like what you're referring to, just so I can be clear what I'm looking for?
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Janitorial, and that's where I'd like the options, including the contract and out. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried, thank you. Oh, you're opposed, I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm sorry?
No, I'm ready for K5.
Okay, got it. Okay. The Renfrew Town Council directs staff to prepare a background report on the gym floor anchors and associated hardware requested by Gymnastics A for the MyFM Center, including technical specs, financial implications, warranty details, and a summary of communications with Communications A to date. And the mover is?
Sorry to interrupt, Chair. I have to declare. I do apologize that I didn't declare at the beginning of the meeting, but I have to declare a pecuniary interest on K5, and I will not be discussing or voting on this topic at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So can I have a mover, please? Councillor Cebulski, and seconded by Councillor Legree. And discussion? Councillor Cebulski.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Straightforward, as it said in the notice of motion. Just want more information, full package all the way through. After seeing it on the capital budget line item and having the representation come and speak to it for our open session, I believe that we are in need of a full package of information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And it should be noted that Councillor Andrew Dick did not participate in discussion, nor did he vote. Next, we'll move to notions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure. Seeing none. Any notice of motions? Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry, seeing one.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. I'd like to put a notice of motion forward that the Town of Renfrew Council direct the town staff to prepare a comprehensive report detailing the historical interactions and communications between the town staff and Heritage Renfrew. That the report includes recommendations on how to establish a formal partnership between the town and Heritage Renfrew to enhance support for heritage initiatives and address any existing barriers to effect communication and collaboration. That staff assist council to prioritize the development of this partnership to ensure Heritage Renfrew receives the support it needs to fulfill its mission and contribute to the community of Renfrew. I would ask that this report be presented to the council by the second council meeting in June. Thank you.
I gave up. Okay, so thank you for that. And just to clarify, I may have gone a little too fast, but I'm positive I didn't. So K4, it was on the building maintenance operations. I had the mover of Councillor McDonald. Did I have a seconder on that? I thought, okay, so thank you, Councillor Dick, for bailing me out. Appreciate that. And so seeing no more notices of motion this evening, we'll move to closed session, which we have none. And we have upcoming special meetings of council and committee. So we have a special council meeting for the second draft budget, and the date has been determined to be next Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, through you, Chair. The second draft meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, April the 29th, starting at 10 a.m.
Thank you. The regular council meeting of May 13 at 5:30. I'm going to be at Queen's Park and driving back, so I will find a spot, some friendly McDonald's, and get on my laptop there. So I'll be attending, but remotely. Might be a lot quieter with me being remote, we'll see. Economic Development Advisory Committee, May 13 at 10 a.m. So with that, we'll move to confirmatory bylaw 40-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation and Town of Renfrew at the regular meeting of April 22, 2025, and the special meeting of April 22, 2025. Can I have a mover, please? Move Councillor McWhirter, second Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. So that actually should have read that it be taken as read and passed. My apology. It should. I've misread that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
Sorry. And so with that, I would seek a mover and seconder. Okay, we are adjourned. Jeez.
8:30.
I'm just at too many committees, and I'll tell you. They all should be standard. So with that, we'll adjourn at 8:32 p.m. Thank you, council and the staff, for your patience, and as always for the great reports and the honest and thoughtful dialogue from council.